Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back for your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. So, back on February 25th, we got an update from the International Monetary Fund, or as you guys probably know, the IMF. The title of the paper was Rise of Digital Money, Implications for Pacific Island Countries. Now, the big thing that we are focusing on within this paper is the spotlight put on Ripple. We're going to address it, we're going to talk about it, but overall, the entire premise of this video is going to be focused on the demand for digital monies, while the demand for fiat currencies drops off. See, paper usage of cash has diminished greatly. And when we talk about that, right, the number one thing that I always bring up is the pandemic. Because prior to the pandemic, cash usage was a big thing. It still was a pretty big deal. During 2020, cash usage dropped off. And it was a big spotlight from the World Economic Forum, the IMF, the BIS. They even said, hey, guess what? Cash usage is dropping. We need to focus on digital. Again, I say that these events are accelerant events. They are all focused on one thing, which is to push digital currencies. Within this report, we get a summary. Mainly, the whole idea of this is focusing on the potential benefits and risk of digital money and payment systems around enhancing financial inclusion and payment efficiency while minimizing risk. That's the entire premise of this, and a lot of it is focused on financial inclusion with improved cross-border connectivity given the specific characteristics of the region, while cautioning against the risk of rapid and inadequately regulated adoption. So, as we look at this, right, I do think that we are on the brink of a major push for an accelerated digital system. Things need to be put in place before we get to that point. Regulations is the full focus right now. That's the last known obstacle. Listen, interconnectivity, or as you know, interoperability, has already been solved. There is already payment systems within the space like what Ripple has created with RippleNet utilizing XRP and the XRP ledger, and that is very disruptive, and it's been very successful. There has already been POCs with central banks around RTGS systems. There's already a ton of POCs around stablecoin initiatives on the XRP ledger as well. All of this is known, and a lot of these organizations, like for an example, the IMF, the World Economic Forum, the World Bank, the BIS, they all know about this because they've highlighted Ripple and the XRP ledger on various PDF files. But regardless, we have this full-on report. Now, there's over 50 plus pages on this report. I'm not going to go through all of it and waste your guys' time. In fact, big shout out to Subjective Views and also Susan Anthony, because they both put out two great posts. The first post here is from Subjective Views. Now, like I said, within this report, we do get a spotlight put on Ripple. That is this spotlight right here, a decision tree for introducing digital monies in PICs. Now, in a recent paper by the IMF News titled Rise of Digital Money, Implications for Pacific Island Countries, Palau's partnership with Ripple to create a sovereign stablecoin was highlighted. They also provided recommendations for Palau, which included joining an existing/upcoming multilateral traditional platform, a pooled stablecoin for several Pacific Island countries, PICs, in parallel with foreign cash transactions. According to this report, a pooled stablecoin, private or public sector issued, implies that there will be a multi-regional regulation and oversight and may be more suitable for PICs with no national currencies. It is currently being explored by some PICs with the help of private technology companies. And here we could actually see that full diagram of the decision tree for introducing digital money in PICs. And again, you do have Palau being highlighted, and you could also see some of the things that they are highlighting there as well. Now, regardless of this, we also got an update from Susan Anthony. Now, do you guys remember when everyone was going crazy about R3 and XDC collaborating together? They said, oh, XRP is not a part of R3 at all. Guess what? That was all because of this. So first and foremost, we have 2018. R3 launches Universal Settler application to facilitate global payments on Corda. XRP, the first settlement mechanism. Now, yes, recently R3 did incorporate XDC as well, but everyone thought that XRP was replaced. I know very known names in the space, and I'm not going to name them because, again, out of respect, that were mentioning the fact that XRP is not utilized at all within R3 anymore because of this, which happened back in 2020, where R3 and Ripple were actually in a legality issue, right? Like this was a big problem. They were in litigation over an options agreement that granted R3 the right to buy 5 billion XRP. That was the big issue. Now, they did settle. It was more than $240 million, the settlement. But everyone thought that from here on out that R3 was done with Ripple. R3 was done with XRP. But we know now from this post with Susan Anthony that that is just not the case. And remember what I said in the past. R3 still uses XRP. They don't care about what Ripple is doing. They're still utilizing XRP in the XRP ledger. We have apparently, the IMF news states that the Palau Sovereign Stablecoins, PSC, are based on an R3 XRP blockchain. And here we have category description. This is the rise of digital money. A lot of people think that this is old because this says 2022. Again, this is all from the same exact document. But we have Palau, we have the category with currency, payment infrastructure, payment services, digital identification, and then we also have the central bank digital currency, crypto assets, and stablecoins. And we have, there is a plan to issue sovereign stablecoins by late 2022, which by the way already happened, based on R3 XRP blockchain. That's very interesting that they are mentioning that. And again, it also proves the fact that like when we really look at R3, R3 still is utilizing some of these settlement assets. XRP is a great settlement currency. I've talked about it 100 times already on this channel. I've sounded like a broken record. If you want to move money, you're tapping into XRP. Why? Because it makes sense. Compared to anything else in this space and outside of the space, XRP was purposely built for DeFi initiatives, money movement, transactions. It has done a great job over the last 10 years of doing so. And it continues to be a great asset for that as well, which is why R3 did select it back in 2018. This still is very crucial to know today because more than ever before, we are now realizing the fact that when we look at some of these old articles and the old news around XRP, it's very valuable to still note this because it's still live today. And these are still things that matter when you go and look at who's behind R3 and when you look at the partnerships that R3 does have. And you also look at the connections that Corda by R3 also has, you know, they've expanded rapidly in just the last couple of years. I mean, from 2018 to now, you should see how big Corda has become. We've noted it with XDC. So we still need to note that. We still need to know this information, even though it is from 2018. But I just figured I would bring that up because a lot of people still think that R3 is not using XRP. But I think that's crazy that the IMF is actually noting all of this and they're giving us a lot of this information. But why is all of this crucial, right? Well, it's because of what the Federal Reserve has been talking about when it comes to stablecoins. I think that it's incredible that the IMF is actually putting a spotlight on Palau's stablecoin that is in partnership with Ripple utilizing the XRP ledger. And this is the public XRP ledger, by the way. But the Federal Reserve has been talking about DeFi, strengthening the dollar. And I've noted this multiple times already on the channel, but their full focus is also on stablecoins. February 16th, we had the Federal Reserve Governor sees USD-pegged stablecoins boosting US dominance. Mind you, do you guys remember the speculation that was happening around Palau's stablecoin? A lot of people thought that that was the introduction of a US CBDC. Why? Because technically Palau's stablecoin, or whatever you want to call it, it's under the description of a CBDC. Even when we look at the IMF breakdown from what Susan Anthony dropped here, they're still talking about a central bank digital currency. Even though the Palau initiative is technically a stablecoin, they still highlight it as a CBDC, which I find very interesting. But a lot of people speculated that Palau is the first major one to push a US dollar-backed stablecoin. We can't read too much into it because from my point of view, it does just look like a stablecoin. But I do think that as we look at US dollar dominance, this is also why I think that stablecoins are going to be heavily focused on this year. But as we look at US dollar dominance, I do think that the Federal Reserve is going to streamline stablecoin adoption and also regulations. And it's already kind of in progress. If you go back to November of 2023, we had Michael Barr, which by the way is a prior individual at Ripple. He's actually calling for strong stablecoin regulation and says we haven't made a decision when it comes to CBDCs. So it seems as though stablecoins are the more focused, which I have been highlighting in prior videos. But what's very interesting about all of this is Ripple being at the forefront of the stablecoin race. Back in November of 2022, so we're talking about, a whole year ago prior to this update from the Fed, and even from some of these big updates from the Federal Reserve recently around DeFi and stablecoins. But when we go back over here to the global stablecoin race is on, we get a few insights from Ripple themselves. First off, they do highlight the XRP ledger, specifically around Stably and Stasis. So we have here, as the growth of global stablecoins continues and more use cases are explored in the broader crypto landscape, Ripple has also picked up the pace and continues to build momentum with new partners like Stably and Stasis. Together with Ripple, they'll be tapping the XRP ledger as a fast, low-cost, and scalable blockchain that offers clear liquidity, reliability, and interoperability advantages for stablecoin issuers in the world of crypto. Now, this is something heavy to highlight. Why? Well, because as we do start to see US dollar stablecoin focus from the Federal Reserve, and outside of the US, we start to see a lot more stablecoin initiatives taking place as well. There is going to be a big push on the rise of more and more stablecoins. And regardless of stablecoins or CBDCs, whether or not we get both, in my opinion, I do believe that we do get both, there is going to be a very, very large amount of value and volume coming from stablecoins over the course of the next few years. And the reason why, and I highlight this, back in 2022, and the reason why this got posted in 2022 and got focused on is because stablecoins hit $7.5 trillion in just a single year in terms of the value tied to transactions. Just to put that into perspective, that is more than what MasterCard moved in 2022. So stablecoins, whether or not you want to think that they are big or not, they are, and they provide a ton of value and volume. The XRP ledger, like I said, and even as Ripple is mentioning here, is perfect for stablecoin initiatives to not only grow rapidly on the XRP ledger, but also transact in a very efficient way. And interoperability is obviously a big focus as well when it comes to this. And even within this is also talking about financial inclusion and accelerating economic growth by enabling digital purchasing histories and greater access to credit, and by removing frictions from cross-border payments for companies of all sizes. And I think that this is crucial to note as well. And we even see here that that's why the XRP ledger is best suited to support stablecoins at scale. Built to support the tokenization of any asset, the XRP ledger can handle a high volume of transactions that settle in mere seconds and cost only a fraction of a cent. Right now, a lot of people are just focused on how to make as much money as possible in crypto, and I don't blame you. I think that we should be focused on making as much money as possible in the shortest amount of time possible as well. But I also think that everyone should hold XRP on the sidelines simply because of how big this could be once we start to see heavy adoption, because we're not there yet. I feel as though there's this kind of falsified narrative around XRP and the XRP ledger where, we have all these banks using XRP right now and XRP is used everywhere and there's trillions of dollars moving over the XRP ledger. Guys, there's like maybe a couple $1 billion, $10 billion or so moved over the XRP ledger in a single year. That's not that significant when you compare it to how much money is going to be moved over some of these great ledgers in the next few years. So I always say remain patient. And I know that sucks to hear, but listen, if you invest into XRP 5-6 years ago, you were extremely early. That's nothing to be, disappointed about or frustrated about. We are extremely early in this major move. And I highlight this because you now have the Federal Reserve talking about stablecoins. You have the IMF highlighting Ripple with stablecoin initiatives. I think that this is something that everyone should be very excited about and very bullish about as well. But regardless, right? Outside of this, we also got another update from Ripple back in 2023. And this was actually around June of 2023, where it was the next evolution of global payments. Navati brings stablecoins to the Australian market. And this was also another big one because this was also fully focused on the XRP ledger. And even here, we actually have stablecoins pegged to the US dollar have seen the most traction to date. Euro-backed stablecoins make up the largest group of the non-USD stablecoins, which is a market cap of about 581 million euros or $605 million, compared to a $145 billion plus total market cap of all fiat-backed stablecoins. But Navati was actually fully pushing this one-to-one fiat-backed stablecoin on the XRP ledger, and this is from Australia. So this is an Australian digital dollar, if you will, and this was actually a big deal. And this is one of many stablecoin initiatives growing on the XRP ledger. And over the course of the next few years, like I said, there's probably going to be a lot more stablecoin initiatives growing rapidly. And I feel as though all of this is kind of highlighting the use of what the IMF has been talking about, which is this over here. So this got posted back in November of 2023. Mind you, what's funny about this? So here is November 7th, when we start to see strong stablecoin regulation being talked about within the US. Then we get literally 8 days later, IMF says central bank digital currencies can replace cash. This is not the time to turn back. Now, outside of CBDCs, digital currencies themselves, stablecoins, CBDCs, all of it, it's technically a pathway to replacing cash. At the end of the day, a lot of people still think that cash usage is going to be around forever. Cash is going to be around forever. It's not. Listen, we could talk about that all day long. At the end of the day, cash is going to be replaced. Do I like it? Not exactly, but hey, it is something that's going to happen. Every single thing that is paper-based is going to be replaced digitally. It's just the way of technology. Once this starts, there's no turning back. And the IMF is literally telling you that as well. And this is why I think that it's very significant that the IMF is actually highlighting Ripple, because it is a big spotlight and it's something to focus on at the time where we have the IMF pushing heavy around, guess what? Cash being replaced. But also outside of this, Deloitte also put out a great report, and big shout out to the ISO GOAT. This is a report that a lot of people kind of overlooked, and it's real-time payments are changing the reality of payments. And we have over here why cash may be a thing of the past. And let me open this up in a new tab. That way you guys can actually see it as well, and I can zoom in just for you guys. So we have why cash may be a thing of the past. And this actually focused on Europe. So we have the ECB. The total cost of cash in the European Union is 1% or more of GDP. Similarly, the cost to support cash in the US is $200 billion annually. So again, they want to cut down on that cost. But then also we have faster payment schemes. There are many faster payment schemes available around the globe aimed at expediting the availability of funds by creating a workaround for underlying clearing and settlement mechanisms. And that's something to really focus on as well, because I even think that when we look at Swift, so many people in the space, and again, this is not me, taking shots at anyone, but so many people in the space still think that Swift actually has a clearing and settlement mechanism tied to it. It doesn't. It's the same exact thing with a lot of these payment schemes. They don't actually have clearing and settlement mechanisms. They tap into third parties that charge them a massive fee. Ripple already told you, and specifically David Schwartz said that it would be a dream scenario to have Swift going over to Ripple and saying, hey, we want to utilize RippleNet and we want to charge banks a fee, not you charge us a fee. So Swift makes out great, Ripple makes out great, XRP and the XRP ledger also make out great. That is a dream scenario. Is it going to happen? We don't know, but it would be something that makes sense considering the fact that payments, settlement, it's all streamlined now. Everything is moving fast. Now, outside of this, we also have real-time payments go global. And again, this is focused on technology around real-time systems and leapfrogging the old traditional system. And here we have representative real-time payment schemes. We have central banks, and we have the companies as well. And we also have the central bank competition authority, major banks and central banks, and then central bank and infrastructure institutions. We can see the full breakdown here of what their payment schemes actually are. And we also have a little bit of a report down here that in the US, the Federal Reserve believes that US payment system is in the midst of its own modernization transformation. They have urged US banks to look at what is happening around the world, including evolving consumer payment preferences, and begin to create a real-time ecosystem that has the ubiquity, safety, and convenience of legacy payment systems. I also think that this is what we're kind of starting to see with FedNow. And by the way, clearing and settlement, third-party players are tied to FedNow. And regardless, when we go and look at some of the recent reports from the Federal Reserve, DeFi, stablecoins, it's all being focused on. I have a very hard time believing that DLT and blockchain are not going to be a part of that puzzle. And then also over here, the tipping point for real-time payments. Everything is moving extremely fast. And here we have common customer expectations. Again, this is pay now, pay immediately, same day deposits and bill pay. We also have common merchant expectations as well. Get real-time payments, better use of cash flow, reduce fraud, provide incremental value to customers as well. Technology innovation, like all of this is the focus. So everything is, it's going real time. Everything's going real time. Everything's going digital. We're in the middle of this revolution. And that's also the number one thing that I'm trying to put a spotlight on when it comes to XRP is everyone's getting frustrated at a time where we are so close to that finish line. I don't think that everyone should just be hodling their bags to oblivion. No, I don't think so. Listen, I've talked about it. I think that this bull run, you want to make sure that you are taking profits off the table. You want to make sure that you get your initial investment out. And you want to make sure that you keep a moon bag just in case. This is probably going to be the last major bear market that is extremely rough, probably lasts for a few years, longer than usual because of regulations and compliance. That is the time where you want to actually start looking into the legitimate projects and the players in the space, because the next wave of adoption and the next wave of capital that comes into the space is going to fully be focused on regulated and compliant projects that have utility. This is going to be the key that unlocks the door for the utility-driven bull run to actually take place. And that's when XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, and a few other ones become extremely valuable. So definitely pay attention, lock in right now, and focus up on what actually matters. I get it. We are very impatient. Human beings are. But right now, as we are starting to see everything fall into place, I find it very hard not to be extremely bullish on the future around crypto and be extremely bullish on XRP as well, when everything that we've been talking about for the last 3 years, it's all coming together now. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.